And Jonathan, I'd love to ask you about what it was, how did you approach playing this character who is troubled yet, I would say, deeply sympathetic too?
I think the approach to Killian is the same as it's been for, I only know one way to kind of get after it. I'm talking to you like, one way of getting after it, and it was really the peculiar nature that Killian had that allowed for a slightly different journey, so the bodybuilding element, when you push your body to that point, I got a few training buddies out here, and my actual trainer is also here for the film, and Jason Best, what's up, boy? So those are the homies, and those guys really saw the work in it, the preparation, because the density of the muscle and the density of the character kind of went hand in hand. And as we do leg day or whatever it was Rhino had me doing, and I'd break down and be sitting on the floor crying, and not because the body was fatigued, but because somehow the spirit had gotten involved, you know what I mean? To get the weight up, to push past that pain barrier, and so that became pattern recognition. It felt to me that was the emotional and spiritual spine of Killian Maddox. This may not make a lick of sense to nobody, but you know what I mean? You feel me, right? Cool. And so it was that, and if that was the template, and then that collaboration with incredible scene partners and an incredible director, little by little every day. But tell the truth, tell the truth. That was and I'll conclude. That was the biggest thing, you know what I mean? Like, this guy is real, like he's a real cat. I've seen this guy, you've seen this guy, I've been this guy, and that's really the part that, the implication of that, to allow that rage and that loss and that fear to be there and not hide. Killian Maddox, you can't hide and play him. So, yeah, we talk about it later, but that's it.
Thank you. Taylour, I was struck by something you said earlier when we were talking about the script and just how deeply affected you were by it when you read it. I'm wondering, I would love for you to share that with the audience too, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, this was my first time seeing it, so I'm all the things you're feeling right now, processing in real time. But, wow, Elijah. I just feel, and Jonathan, and we have to take care of each other. And we're all kind of, I feel like we're so fragile, and we're kind of all walking this fine line of being okay, but we're not always okay. And I don't know, I read the script and it felt like, I said this earlier, but I was like a scab. You're like, I picked the scab, but the scab, I keep picking it and it hurts. But I didn't want to look away. We can't look away. We have to walk each other home. We have to take care of each other. I think that the fate of Killian is, if something bad happened to him, he went to jail, it's our fault. Like, we're responsible. These are our children, these are our brothers, this is our father. And I don't know. It's all so complicated, but it's also not. This lovelessness and our culture and this society, it's tired, Let's just be better to each other. Let's just do better. Let's just be better. We have to slow down. we have to slow down, we have to look at each other in the eye. You matter, I matter, we matter. I don't know what it's gonna take. We keep doing this thing and spinning on this planet and Happy New Year and the same thing and the same thing and the same thing and the news and we're tired, you know? So, anyways, that's my long, short answer.
Haley, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I mean, just to follow up what
Taylour said, I saw the film last night and had a very similar reaction, just sobbing. Which is how I felt after reading the script, but now watching it with you all, it was such a beautiful thing to share this creation with you. And I think it's just wow, thank you for sharing your soul with us, your pain with us. I think be kind always. You never know what someone might be suffering with, toiling with. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. I would love for the audience to ask questions. Can we bring up the lights like a tiny bit?
Me?
But yes, right here, in front.
I got it. Hey, so there were a couple of callbacks and allusions to Shawshank Redemption, and I want to know if they were intentional. So there was the obvious Killian Maddox was here, callback to Brooks was here. There was a poster that was very similar to Rita Hayworth's poster. It was getting beat up by a bunch of guys with a little pipe, and Jonathan's outfit has little shades of red. If you look at it, I don't know if any of that was intentional or am I just looking into it.
It wasn't intentional, but I have seen that movie about 200 times. So. It feels like a therapy session. Yeah, no, now that you say that, I'm like, yeah, I guess it is, isn't it? It's nothing we discussed and nothing that we did on purpose, but if you want to keep going, I'd love to listen if you had any more, because now we're thinking about, seriously, we're talking about someone who's maybe imprisoned in a way and frees himself at the end to a fate that's unknown. Yeah, I guess we ripped it off, didn't we?
No, you did. You did it.
Yes, you in the red?
Hi, first of all, I really, really love the film. It's really beautiful, and I wanted to know a lot of it if it was intentional, the way the sex worker interacted with Killian in a way that was almost like, there was a moment where it felt like she wanted to like talk to him and like take care of him a little bit more, but then she had to also set those boundaries. And I just thought that was really well approached, that scene, and I wanted to know, like, what was your thought process when you were writing the film, or if you just felt like
Yeah, the question is about the scene with the sex worker.
There was nothing cut out of that scene. There may or may not have been an additional scene somewhere else in the movie between them. But we felt, it was a really difficult one to part ways with. But also, it was in a cut really deep into the edit, and it only came out at the last minute because we felt that the character, we were already walking a very fine line with morally and ethically and playing this game of how long will the audience stay on his side. And we were pushing it all the way to the limit and being mindful of where that Rubicon is, that when he crosses, we can't get him back again. And we felt that the second scene may have crossed that point. So it's not in the movie anymore. But it was beautifully acted.
You guys messed up.
Yeah. But to answer it was intentional for her to be someone that he goes seeking some sort of human connection with. and someone who can also, without much being said, just kind of given her circumstance in life and his circumstance in life, they can tell a sort of a common bond through pain, through experience. But at the end of the day, she's still professional, and you know, she doesn't work for free, and she isn't really going to be his girlfriend. As much as she could see this as a human being who could probably use some help, she has her own life to care about. And this is something Taylour and I talked about in depth. I don't know if you want to add anything, but it's something, when she signed on to do it, we talked quite in depth about the balance of that role and the nuance of it, and how to handle it right.
Yeah, I played with the idea of, like, well, we talked about her maybe being a figment of his imagination, and also, just maybe it's his mother, not in, I mean, you can get Freudian with it, but not in a sexual way, but like, in the nurturing kind of, these two people who knows who actually talks to these people, but in the confines of this hotel room, they're talking to one another and they're safe for 20 minutes. This divine feminine kind of, her name is Pink Coat, you know, so she's like this, maybe in an alternate universe they could have been, but both unloved and in this circumstance can't, you know, it just doesn't quite, it can't quite. But if only, they both could probably use a hug, or 5, 20, you know.
There's so much more that we could delve into with this film, and unfortunately we're out of time with the Q&A, but I want to congratulate the Magazine Dreams team